Jessica M. Harris. What's up? What's up? So, I wanted to go ahead and come live to speak to you today because it's been pressed on me. Number one, I've been told it a few times over the last like 24 hours that I needed to share the testimony of my move. So, that is what we're doing today. I know y'all gonna have to see the slate like this because my thing broke. So, but yeah, um, God moved me to Texas in 2022. Today, right now, it's October 20th of 2022. And I wanted to share, God wanted me to share this, one, because it's his story. It's going to give him the glory. But two, because there's many of you who are being called to move right now. And some of you guys don't know what to do, or you're feeling scared. You're not sure what this means. Some of you guys need to go back to God, number one, and find out what is the town, city, or state that he told you to move to. Back in February 2022, God specifically had told me, February 2021, God had made it clear to me. He gave me the words Texas. It was in bright gold letters. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean, God? You gave me the word Texas. So I assumed that day when I got it last year that it was going to be a move to Texas. But honestly, I didn't know if that was really going to be the case or not. All I knew was that I had a state that I've never been to before. I've never been to Texas, y'all. But he gave me the name Texas. And I was like, okay, so we'll see what happens, right? Bet. So that was in February of last year. That was also the same time when God had removed me out of my job. So, yes, I was out of work. I'm also a mom to three little people, right? They're all under 10 years old. And at that time, I was like, okay, God, well, what are we supposed to do? So God had me start up businesses, start up blogs, start up podcasting, all these other pieces. And I was sitting there like, okay, well, my relationship had already ended, but I was still living at the house with their dad and the kids. And I was like, God, I want to leave. I want to move. And I tried to make a move, not to Texas then, but a move within my own state. And honestly, it didn't work because that's not what God had me doing. That's not where he needed me to go. He didn't want me to move in my own state. He needed me to move across states. But time went on, months passed, and I was like, well, maybe I was tripping about the word Texas. I know I saw it because it was real bright, real big, but God hadn't told me anything else regarding Texas. So honestly, I just assumed that when he said Texas, maybe he just meant, oh, well, there's something in Texas for me. Maybe he meant it's a place that I'll go visit. Maybe he meant, I don't know, something else, right, regarding Texas. But I truly didn't understand, like, if this was something that was going to be permanent. I didn't know. Honestly, I really just didn't know what he was doing when he gave me the word Texas. All I knew was that something about Texas was going to take place and we was going to go from there. So it had to have been about October of last year. And in October, I remember like, okay, I felt released. I don't know how to explain that. I just knew in my spirit that I felt the release, like God was giving me the okay to move. And I was like, okay, I can move. But at this moment, I was confused because I was like, okay, God, well, where am I actually about to move to? Where am I going right now? And I say that part because, yes, he had told me Texas before, but I didn't understand how God would send me to a place that I never been to. It didn't make sense to me at that time. So I wasn't even like, I didn't look up places in Texas. I didn't dive into what Texas was like. I didn't do anything regarding Texas. I promise y'all, I didn't. I remember at that time, I told one of my friends in Christ about it because I was like, I feel like God is giving me permission to leave now from the home that I was in because I had been asking him to leave for months at this point. And she was like, I feel like you already know where you're supposed to go. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't know where I'm supposed to go because every place that I had tried to apply in my home state, well, it's not my home state, but the state that I was in Connecticut. Everywhere that I tried to apply in the state of Connecticut, it was just like denied, denied, denied. It was denied to the point where I would put in the application and God would tell me it's going to get denied. And I'm like, what? Why are you denying me? You don't want me in this house. I know you don't at this point, right? So why am I getting denied? And she was like, you have to go back to what he told you because I feel like he's given you a place before. So I said, the only place God has ever shown me as far as like a location of a place ever was the word Texas. And she was like, that's it. She was like, pray about it, confirm with him. But I believe that's where he's about to send you. And I said, Now, this is on the phone. And I just looked at her like, girl, I have never been to the state of Texas. I have never been down south, minus Florida, right? And that was to go to a cruise, minus Atlanta, and that was to go to a conference. I had never touched or set foot in the state of Texas. I never even had a desire, in all honesty, to go to Texas. Not at that time. It wasn't something that was on my mind, like, oh, we're going to Texas. That wasn't a place that was on my list to do that. So it was confusing to me that that would be a place that God was going to send me. Y'all, listen, when God gives you a state, when He gives you a place, take it seriously. Because that's what I should have did. I should have taken it more seriously. But at the time, I didn't know, in all honesty. So what ended up happening from there, that was about October. I remember breaking the news to my family, like, hey guys, we're gonna go to Texas. Now I assumed it was a we thing. Y'all, don't assume anything. Go to God. Ask Him to give you the breakdown on how He wants this to be said to you. Because I assumed it was a we thing, but it wasn't a we thing. Um, that was back in like October of last year. And I remember the months would go past. And I'm sitting here, trying to plan this move to Texas. I'm looking at apartments, I'm looking at houses, I'm looking at jobs. And did you know that the same thing was happening again? Denied, denied, denied. For jobs, I either was getting denied or passed over on jobs that I knew I qualified for, or I just wasn't getting a response back. And I was confused because I was like, wait, this don't make no sense, God. Hold on. I'm confused here because you're telling me, I believe you're telling me go Texas. I'm applying to jobs in Texas, but y'all can't get a job. Nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. The same thing when it came to housing. I'm like, so how exactly are we supposed to do this? Because the things that people would typically have in order to go to a new place, it was not working that way for me. I promise y'all, it was not working at all that way. And I was like, okay, so what are we doing? So as I told y'all before, I wasn't working. I wasn't working and things of that nature because God had pulled me out. I was taking care of my kids at home and getting things in order for them. And it was crazy because I was like, okay, I started to see by December, my money started to run out. So between December and February, my funds started to deplete. Like I was in my savings, I was using my savings for my bills, and I was confused because I'm like, God, you told me to move. I'm trying to save what I have to make this move happen, right? Not keep, but peep what I said. I was trying to save so I could make this move happen. Y'all, that was the thing there. God was literally depleting my resources, one, to show me that it wasn't going to be by my hands, period. It wasn't going to be by my hands that He was going to have this move take place. Two, He was depleting my resources because He was already in the process of humbling me. Yes, God had to humble Jessica, y'all. I had to get real humble, like real, real humble. Um, some of you may be going through that very same thing right now in a different way. But yes, He was in the process of humbling my heart because I said it. I was like, I feel like you're humbling me. I feel like you're stripping me of everything because I used to have Netflix. I used to get my nails done. I used to get my hair done. Like not all the time, but like enough. And I started to see that the activities, the things that I love to do that was like of luxury, right? In my mind, I couldn't do those things anymore. And I was like, what is happening here? I can't do this no more. I can't do that no more. I can't go out to eat the way I used to go out to eat no more. All my stuff was just getting depleted, depleted, depleted. And it wasn't from spending, irrationally. No, it was just from spending from day to day stuff, gas, bills, the kids, everything. And I was like, how in the world are we about to move to Texas, God, when I have no money? What is happening? So there was a point I'll never forget. It was in what month was it, y'all? What month was it? In May. May is coming to me. In May, I remember thinking like, okay, God, I filed my taxes, right? And my taxes, they were running late because I filed late. That was a me thing, y'all. I filed late, so that's on me. But I have filed late, and I was like, okay, God, well, I don't know what we're doing anyway because my taxes are about to come. You want me to go to Texas? I don't know what's happening. And I believe it was the first or second week that I felt this big urge in my belly. And it was like, you need to move now. And I said, God, thank you for the urge and the pull in my belly to say I need to leave now. But I need something in my bank account because I promise you, It looks nothing. It probably was on like a few dollars. And I was like, God, how are we supposed to move? You want me to move to Texas? I feel it so like urgently in my belly, but I ain't got no funds to go. How am I supposed to get there? How am I supposed to get to a place without funds, right? You think about if you're going to make a move. In my mind at this time, I was still thinking I was bringing my kids with me. I really wasn't sure how he was about to do it. And I was like, I don't know how you're about to do this, but I have no money. There's nothing in my pocket. There's nothing in my bank account. But you said move to Texas. Okay, so how are we about to do this? So I remember my friend texted me. She's like, girl, you got to move. And I said, girl, I told God the same thing the other day. You're going to have to provide a way. So this was in May of this year, of 2022, that I had this conversation, that I felt the big urge, like, you need to move now. So I was like, okay, God, well, let's figure this out. One, I was like many of you guys, I wanted to get confirmation. So I went where? YouTube. And I looked at videos. Okay, well, how did these people move? Because I know I'm not the only one who's being pressed by God to move to another state that they ain't never been to. So I looked at videos and I saw people, and some people, they said the very same thing, had no money, but God told them to move. I said, okay, I'm gonna need to be encouraged, God, because you made a way for them. That means that you're gonna make a way for me. So how are we doing this? So a few of the videos that really encouraged me was some of the ones who were moms. I saw some moms who they made the move to whatever state God told them to, but they had to leave their kids behind. And I said, God, are you telling me that I have to leave my babies behind? Y'all, I had to leave my kids behind. That's exactly what he was telling me. And I was like, God, okay, we're going to get to that point though. So we kept going along the route, watched other videos, and I was encouraged. I was like, all right, so clearly it can be done. And these people, they showed their stories. They talked about it. Some of them lived in cars. Some of them was able to get apartments right away. It was different for everybody. So I said, okay, that it seems manageable. So at this point, there was an event that was taking place in Houston, Texas. And I said, God, I know I'm called to Dallas, or I believe I'm called to Dallas, but there's an event in Houston that's taking place mid-June. Can I go to this event, right? And then I'll take a plane from that event over to Dallas because it's a 4-hour difference. So I bought my plane ticket. The event was free. The hotel cost some money, but I said, okay, God, well, if I get my tax refund, I could use that and then flip it, right? I said, all right, because the ticket from Houston to Dallas was only like $50. I was like, oh, we could do that. But then I was like, there's no car. So I was like, okay, God, well, let me just do this event. Now, in my mind, when I planned this, I was thinking I was just going to scope the land in Texas, see where I wanted to go. And then I figured I was going to fly back to Connecticut, right? And then bring my stuff with me. That was my plan, Jessica's plan, not God's plan, Jessica's plan. That was Jessica's plan in May. I planned that in May, right? Because that's what I thought I could do. Y'all, this is why you got to seek God on everything. This is why you got to know what he's saying to you specifically, because that plan planted the seed of me leaving to go to Texas, but it wasn't the way that God had it set for me. No, it was not. I got my tax refund about the third week of May, and I was like, ooh, perfect. I got money. God, we can go ahead and make this trip down there. I could see houses. I could see apartments, and then I can come back. Did you know that my brakes started to fail 2 days after I got that check? And I had to come out of pocket a good amount to get my brakes fixed and tires. And I said, God, you allowed the money to come into me, but my car's acting funny. And now I got to pay this huge amount to a car that I was not planning to take with me on this trip. God, what are we doing here? So what did I do? I got the car fixed. I got brakes, I got front brakes, and I got 2 new tires on it with the warranty and everything. I was like, all right, God, we just gonna do this and call it a day and done. So June comes around, and I already told their dad, like, I'm about to go to Texas, X, Y, and Z. He's down with it. He understands. He's cool because I said I'm coming back, right? Because I thought I was coming back. That ain't what happened. So June, probably like the first week of June comes in, and I have this desire inside of me to clean, to get things in order. I keep seeing it in my head. You need to clean. You need to get things in order. You need to pack. You need to clear out your stuff. You need to start shredding your things. Start picking the stuff that you want to keep with you and get things in order. And I'm like, why do I feel like I got to get stuff in order as if I'm leaving permanently? And I was like, I'm coming back. Y'all, my spirit already knew. My spirit was like, no, you're not. Like, get your stuff in order. So for those of you right now who are feeling that urge in your belly where you're like, I need to clean up. Because I'm telling you, the move of God is so swift and so quick. You'll be sitting there trying to figure out, like, I thought I had more time. And he's going to be looking at you like, I gave you time, but you ignored the signs. So don't ignore the signs. If you feel it in your belly, like I feel it right now, clean up, get your stuff in order. If God is telling you to shred your papers that you don't need, because I'm pretty sure you would like me, right? You got all these mail that you don't use. Listen, throw it away, get stuff in order, throw things that you don't need away. You don't need to bring your entire world with you. I promise you, you don't. Because where God is bringing you is to your place of promise, which means there's going to be more things there for you than what you ever had where you're coming out of. That's the other part. Anyways, June came along and I told their dad all that stuff or whatever. And then I honestly started to feel like I shouldn't go to Houston. I was like, God, it doesn't make sense for me to go to Houston because that's not what you're calling me to. So I was like, okay, God, I'm not going to go to Houston. So I canceled the trip. I canceled the hotel reservations. I canceled my flight. I got a refund. I did all of this probably about the second week of June. I had did it. It was before the 14th. And I was like, all right, I canceled everything, but I was feeling really fearful. There was a lot of fear that started to creep in at this point. And I was like, God, I don't know what is going on, but I feel such a huge burden about leaving my children. I don't know why I feel this way. And it was nothing but it felt like honestly like an attack. And it was the enemy trying to make me afraid of making a move. It was the enemy making me afraid of leaving the what was familiar behind. And it was all this fear. For a whole week, I just felt afraid. I felt scared. I was like, God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what's going on, what's happening. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I really can't do this. So I stopped and I said, God, I need you to take it away. What was really happening, what I thought was the enemy, was really God uprooting everything inside of me that would try to prevent me from going. That's what it was. It was God uprooting everything inside of me that would stop me from going. So I went ahead and did it. I got my whew, y'all, this is hard. Like it's easy in my head, but it's hard out loud because I've never talked but to like a few people about this whole transition. Anyways, right? We got to this point where I said, God, I gotta move. Um, and I feel like the kids have to stay behind. I don't think I'm taking my babies with me. I don't think I'm taking them. And I wasn't. I was not taking them with me. And I remember the week before I left, I said, God, I feel like I still have to go to Texas, even though I canceled my plans. Um, I prayed and I said, can I please take my car? I said, if I have to take my car, I said, if I have to go to Texas, can you please allow me to take my car with me? Because if I can take my car with me, then I'll have a way to get around um, instead of taking a plane. And I had peace about it. And I was like, praise God. So that must have been a Saturday or a Sunday. And I remember by Wednesday of that week, by Thursday of that week, I had to go to my closets and I had to go through all my stuff. I just felt it in my spirit, like you need to go through everything right now. And I remember getting my stuff together. Now, by this point, I had already told their dad I canceled my plans of going to Houston. I told him that I was going to go to Texas, but I probably was going to do it in July. And this was like June 15th that I was talking to him about it. And he was like, all right, cool, bet, because the same agreement was still there. And I remember I didn't really tell my kids what was going on, honestly speaking, because I thought I was coming back. And I remember the 16th of June, as I was getting my suitcases together, I could see suitcases in my head. God gave me a vision like you're taking 2 suitcases with you. And I said, oh, it's time to leave. I said, God, I canceled that trip to Houston. So I thought that by me canceling my trip to Houston for the 15th of June, that I wouldn't be leaving to Texas just yet. I thought that when I said to their dad that I would be leaving to Texas in July, that's when God would allow me to go to Texas, right? That's what I thought. That's what I assumed. That's what I thought was going to be the case. And that wasn't the case. That wasn't it at all. What ended up happening was that June 16th came. I packed my stuff. And I remember his mom asking me, like, are you going somewhere? And I said, I don't know. I feel like I am, but I'm really not sure. I just feel the need to pack my stuff. And I started to pack suitcases and I started to pack my stuff and I started to pack my hair products and everything that belonged to me in those 2 suitcases in a duffel bag. And I was like, I just feel like I have to pack. And then I remember I got up the 17th. That was a Friday, I believe it was. And my friend Taya, she messaged me. She was like, Jessica, she's like, I don't know. I woke up this morning and all I could feel in the spirit was like, you need to leave now. And I hadn't looked at her message just yet, but that's what it said. This must have been like four, this must have been like 5 or 6 in the morning or something like that. She messaged me, even maybe before that, I'm not sure. But I know I woke up early that morning. I probably woke up around 4. And I remember taking my last stuff that was in the trash out because it's trash day on Fridays. And I took the stuff to the trash. And I was like, y'all, I could feel it in the wind. That's the best way I can word it as. I could feel it in the wind. And it was like, you need to move. You need to leave today. You need to leave now. And I said, God, well, how am I going to leave now? Because one of my babies had an appointment and my kids had school. And I could feel it in the spirit that my kids were not going to school that day. And then I was not the one to take my baby to the doctor's appointment, but that I needed to get on the road to leave. And I was like, God, my kids don't even know that I'm leaving. They didn't know that I was going to Texas right now. I was like, am I leaving? And it was like, you're leaving to Texas. So I remember this was June 17th of this year. And I woke them up because they was getting ready for school. And I had told them, and I was like, y'all, I love you very, very much. But God said it's time for me to leave. And they were like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I got to go to Texas. And they were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, mommy has to go to Texas. And I don't know when I'm coming back, but I know I got to go today. And it was the most heartbreaking situation that I've ever experienced, y'all, of being there, because it was like, it was hard. That was hard. Like, that was hard. I won't tell y'all that it was easy. Ooh, no, I would never lie and say it was easy. That was hard. That June 17th was that's one of the hardest days ever for me, because I had to leave all 3 of my little people, and they cried, they wanted to come, and the way I felt about it, God was like, they can't come with you. Ooh, they couldn't come with me. And I wanted to share this part because there's some of you who have families that you're gonna have to leave behind. I'm not gonna tell you that it's permanent because I can't tell you that it's permanent. I don't know. I know for me it's temporary because God told me specifically it's only temporary. But I share this part because I need you to know that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, because what God is going to do for you and with you and through you, and the way he's going to heal you and make you whole, the way that he wants to restore you, my God, it ain't nothing but a glorious act. You leaving is giving God the opportunity to work inside of you the very things that needed to be done. That's why he's doing it. That's why he's doing it. He's not doing it because he doesn't like you. He's not doing it because he doesn't want to help you. He's doing it because he needs you to get into this space with him. And that was the part that I had to learn. I had to learn that it was a journey. I had to learn that God had purpose for me. I had to learn that God wanted to get me in a quiet space with him, not with the noise of my children, not with the noise of their dad, not with the noise of my life, but into a quiet space with him. So on June 17th, y'all, I packed up my car and I packed my 2 suitcases, my duffel bag, a few other items that I needed, of course, right? And I got on the road. I filled up my tank and I set my GPS up for Dallas, Texas. And I knew that I was going to try to stop at one of my friend's house along the way in Ohio. And I went from there. Y'all, I drove by myself over 1,600 miles through 7 states. I wrote it down. I drove through the state of Connecticut, the state of New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, all the way until I got to Texas. That is over a 1,600-mile trip. I drive well over 1,600 miles to get to my promised land. I drove over 1,600 miles to do the will of God. I did that with fasting. Before I made this trip, I have fasted, not even by myself. My friend fasted with me. While I was on this drive, I fasted as well. I didn't sleep in between this trip at all. I didn't do any hotel stays in this trip. The way God got me to Texas was supernatural. He allowed me to be able to stay awake for 31 hours straight so I could be able to make the drive from 7 different states. The only time that I stopped was to go into a Walmart in Kentucky and to get gas at multiple states. Other than that, we didn't make stops. I remember I tried to stop at one of my friend's house, and the way that God was like, you need to go. He will get you there supernaturally. God allowed me to be able to drive all of them states. Even in the midst of car accidents taking place on the road, God kept me safe. Even in the midst of traffic, God kept me safe. Even in the midst of foolishness and nonsense and crazy drivers on the road, God kept me safe. And I believe by faith that because God was able to take me, a young mom, out of one state and allow me to drive through 7 states and allow me to be able to get from place to place to place, nothing but faith, he can do the very same thing for you. I left the house with, I think, about $1,400. It may even have been a little bit less because of the gas and things of that nature. But I left with about $1,400. That's all I had. I didn't have, 5,000 saved up. I didn't have no 12,000 saved up. I didn't have 20,000 saved up. No, I had $1,400 at most in my account, and that's what I left with a car, a full tank of gas, 2 suitcases, a duffel bag, and some things that were needed for the ride. And God truly provided the entire way. When I got to Dallas, and I'm gonna tell y'all this is definitely gonna be more than one video because it's a lot of pieces. But I wanted to encourage you guys with that beginning part. So before I even talk about the Dallas piece, I wanted to encourage you guys with that whole piece there that I just told y'all about, because I need you to understand that God, number one, will make a way out of an impossible situation. I didn't think it was possible for me to get to Texas in May. But 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, God made an entire way for me to get to Texas. It was by faith. It was truly nothing but faith that allowed me to drive that far on my own to a state that I have never been to a place that I have never gone to a place that I've never even thought about living in before, but he's allowed it to become something of a home for me now. But I need you to understand that when God says to move, move. Moving here was the best thing I could have done. Me being obedient to God allowed me to see him differently. When I got to Texas, God showed me the whole ride to Texas. God showed me favor. He showed me his hands. He showed me why he is able. He showed me how he is able at that, right? I got into Texas. I remember I got into the state of Texas at midnight on June 19th. And I was like, okay, so where are we supposed to go? Because I didn't have an Airbnb set. I didn't have a hotel set. I didn't have no reservations, no nothing set, y'all. When I drove here blinded. I drove here blind on faith, by blind faith, by blind faith. I just drove to Dallas, Texas. I literally put in my GPS, Dallas. I didn't put a specific place in Dallas. All I wrote down was Dallas. I said, I just need to get into the city of Dallas because I believe by faith that that is where God is going to meet me at. And I remember him, before I had got to Dallas, I remember seeing the words Grand Prairie. So I was like, okay, God is letting me go to Grand Prairie. That was the specific area in Dallas that I was to go to first. So I remember putting that in my GPS, and I got to Grand Prairie about 2 in the morning. I had no idea that in the summertime of Texas, all the hotels in the Dallas area in specific, because I can say that for sure, are always booked up on the weekends. I had no idea. I had no clue. So when I was calling at a gas station at 2 in the morning, I was being told, yeah, all the hotels are probably going to be booked up. And I was like, God, you sent me here. Therefore, you're going to have a bed for me, God, because I can't believe that you're going to send me to a place and not provide for me. Those were my words out my mouth. Did y'all know that the next place I called, I said, hey, I just got here. It's 2 in the morning. I know it's late. Do you have a room available? She said, how far are you? I said, what's your address? Let me do the GPS. GPS says I'm about 5 minutes away. I think it was like 10 minutes though, like 10 minutes away. She said, if you can get here in the next 10 minutes, I have one room left and you can have it. Y'all, I left that gas station so fast, in such a hurry to get there, that as soon as I walked in, there was a man behind me and a phone call that had taken place just before I got there. And I said, hey, I'm the one who called. And she said, okay, got you. And the man on the phone was asking her if there was a room available. And she said, nope, we just booked it. The man behind me was saying, hey, is there a room available? And what did she say? Nope, I just booked it. My God, by the timing and God's grace, I was able to take the very last room that was available in a city that had no rooms left. Do you hear me when I say that God will cause favor to be with you when you are obedient? Favor met me there. God met me there. His angels met me there, because there was no way that on a Saturday into a Sunday night that there would be a room available. Because she said that. She's like, honestly, I don't even know how we even had that room available. We're always booked solid every weekend. God knew that I was getting ready to arrive, and He already had a place for me. I'm telling you to say this to you, whoever you are who needs to move now, that wherever He is calling you to go, there is a place for you. He has provision for you, He has people waiting on you to get there. I was able to get there, and I was able to get into safety. Y'all, God will keep you safe. He will be your refuge, just like He says in Psalms 91. Come on now, the protection prayer. Y'all, say that over your life. When you make Him your refuge, He conquers everything. When you make Him your refuge, He will cover you with His wings. He will cover you in His feathers, right? He says that He was an angel to uphold you, so this way you don't even stumble upon a stone. Come on now. God will do those things very much for you the way He did them for me. Don't allow what's familiar hold you back into walking into the new place that God has you. Don't allow you wanting to do something because, excuse me. Don't allow you not wanting to do something because you're not sure of what's up ahead. Stop you. I never been to Texas before June 19th. I had never had a desire to go to Texas before the seed was planted in February of 2021. I had never, none of these things were in my minds. None of these things were in my foresight. None of these things were something that I had a desire for until God unleashed it. He unraveled it, right? He revealed it unto me. Things that I had never known about myself were revealed unto me. He's gonna reveal the very plans that He has for you in your life, but you gotta seek Him. And for those of you who are already seeking Him, for those of you who have already received your confirmation, just go. Just do it. Listen, just do it. Remember, He says it in His word. What does it says? What does it says? Be not dismayed, right? Be courageous and be not dismayed. Be courageous in this hour. Has He not commanded you? Be courageous. He is with you, for He is your God. I know that's not the exact wording, but that is a paraphrase of what He says in His word. Come on now. He tells us He does not give us a spirit of fear, but what? A spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. That means He is with you. He has given you the power to go through this. He has given you the love which you need to be able to get through everything. Y'all, you can do this. You can do this. I got through this. You can do this. Listen, my time is up for today. I was not expecting to go that long on the bulkier part of the journey and how I got to this point. But I feel like someone needed to be encouraged that it's okay. I feel like someone needed to be encouraged to know that, listen, it could look dry, but just because it looked dry doesn't mean you don't disregard. Listen, God is in everything that He's doing in your life as long as you're aligning your plans and your will to Him. Align yourself to the visions and plans that God has for your life. Step out on faith, and God is going to meet you there. Listen, I know I already said it. My time's up, but I'll say this. This is going to be part one. I'm going to call it from now. It's part one, because there's more on this journey that y'all are going to hear about. Because whoever you are that is coming to whatever state, whether it be Texas or somewhere else, you are going to get all the juicy fun of my journey. And I pray by faith that it will encourage you on yours to take it and to move. May it be a prophetic act today that you take a bag out your closet and you start to pack. Let it be a prophetic act today that you start going through your papers and you start to shred. Let it be a prophetic act today that you go through every room in your house and you start to clean up. Let it be a prophetic act today that you start to clean house of everything that you know that is not of God, everything that you know that you don't need, everything that you know that doesn't need to be attached to you any longer, whether that be by people, friends, jobs, whatever the case is. Let your prophetic act be today that you make a move on what God has already said is supposed to be your portion, and trust and know that He's going to meet you in that very same thing. So I am done speaking for now. I'm Jessica M. Harris. Y'all, I bless y'all. I ask that God continues to keep y'all. I pray that this encourages y'all. I pray that you are able to see and just watch the glory of God, not just in my life, but the glory of God that works in your own lives, in all honesty, because this is a time where God's glory is being unfolded in ways like never before. And listen, I'm not trying to miss it. I pray that you're not trying to miss it because God is doing truly a new thing and you're in it. Embrace it. All right, y'all. I'm out. I'll see y'all again on another day with more. More to come on this journey. Peace out for now, guys. Bye.